Hello guys, and welcome to this VolksWizard video, and welcome also to episode 2 of Project R8. Now if you've seen episode 1, you're probably expecting the car to be up in the air in the workshop ready for its underbody inspection. Well, unfortunately something far more urgent has arisen, and that's to get an insurance approved tracking device fitted. Now when the car was brand new, something was fitted, but in the intervening 5 years that's no longer recognised by my insurer. So standing here right now, a quarter of a mile away from the West Midlands border where car crime is unfortunately very common, this car isn't insured for theft, which, as I'm sure you can understand, isn't a particularly great position to be in. But luckily I've done a lot of research and I've come up with a system by a company called TRAK UK, which conforms to the Thatcham S5 requirements of my insurer. Now the name Meta may be familiar to you because it was to me. They were a big supplier of immobilisers and alarms back in the days for the Mark II Golf GTI, Mark III Golf GTI, when you had to have one to be insured. They're also today a big supplier to the Volkswagen Group, which gives me confidence in the quality of the product. If it's good enough for Volkswagen Group, it's good enough for my R8. Another reason I chose them is because the ongoing subscription rate is particularly good value. Now to get the system installed, I'm going to go down to their head office near Heathrow Airport. I could have had it done locally, but I want to go down there and meet the guys, and the head of telematics, Andy Archibald, has promised me an interview in which he can tell us all about how tracking devices can help secure your car and all the bits and pieces you can add on to them to make them even more secure. So without any further ado, let's get into Project R8, get down the M40 and go to TRAK UK. Tell us a bit about the history of TRAK, because the name Meta goes back to the 90s for me with Mark II Golf GTIs and capsule immobilisers.
Yeah.
So it's a name that I'm really familiar with.
Yeah. So Meta's been around since 1976, and as you say, they started out doing car alarms, immobilisers, and in the last 10-15 years, telematics has become a product for them. Really driven by insurance telematics, so young driver black box technology. So Meta have been a major hardware supplier in that respect, and in fact, really are known to be the global number one for supply, having manufactured more than 7 million devices since 2010.
There are lots of brands available when it comes to choosing a tracking device. What's special about the ones that TRAK supply?
I think really the key thing is the technology. Meta are using the very latest tracking technology, the very latest GNSS location systems. They're using the very smallest hardware available on the market, and the technology allows the device to be mounted in locations that typically a GPS device cannot be located in. So it extends the scope of installation significantly.
That's really important, because Andy found my tracker in the R8 in about 10 seconds, didn't you? Put your hand up somewhere, and
yes.
There it was.
Yes.
Is that a GPS device? Or
yes. So
that's the device you're talking about that doesn't have a very flexible option when it comes to installation.
Exactly right. So the key thing about a typical GPS device is that the GPS receiver has to be able to see has to have line of sight to the sky, so it can't be blocked by metalwork. Yeah. So you can't fit it under the bonnet. You can't fit it in the boot. So that typically makes it that you have to install it in the passenger compartment, and it has to be able to see through a dashboard or behind a piece of, plastic trim, something like that.
Like a sat-nav aerial?
Yes, exactly right. It's exactly the same technology. And that's really typical across most of the competitor products. So the thing that's really unique about the TRAK product is its ability to be fitted in significantly more locations than competitor products.
That really helps with security, because I've known the cars where the dash end caps have been taken off, and thieves have looked in there for the
and there it
devices.
is. Yeah, and it's again, the size of the device is really key. Again, I believe we probably have the smallest device on the market. and the fact that it can be mounted in any orientation. Again, competitor products, they will generally not only need to have that line of sight to the sky, but they will need to be mounted in a specific orientation because the antenna is on the top. So, you know, some products actually even say this way up. So it again imposes some restrictions on how it can be mounted. So again, just something as simple as that, the size and the ability to mount it in any orientation really extends the scope for installation.
Yeah, that's good, because the harder you can make it for the thief to find, the greater
absolutely.
chance.
I mean, you know, the reality is thieves know there's a tracking device. They are going to expect, if they go and steal, you know, an RS model Audi, they're going to expect a tracking device on there. They will do everything they can to try and find that device and eliminate it as quickly as possible. So our objective is to ensure that they don't find the device.
What about jamming? Because that's a big thing you hear about with tracking devices. Does your product offer any advantages over others?
I mean, you know, realistically, the technology is the technology. You know, there's GSM jamming and GPS jamming. So in terms of jamming, of course, ultimately any frequency can be jammed with the right equipment. What's different, and I don't say that this is unique to us, but jamming becomes more difficult with modern tracking devices because they are using not just SMS, but they're also using an internet connection. They're operating at different frequencies. It's the chances of jamming being 100% successful actually is quite rare. In terms of GPS jamming, again, one of the unique, unique is too strong, but one of the advances in GPS technology is that there are now multiple satellite constellations. GPS actually isn't the location technology. GPS is the American satellite constellation. The actual technology is called GNSS. Now, the GNSS receiver that we use has the ability to use multiple satellite constellations. So again, they tend to work on different frequencies, and again, there will be a higher resistance to jamming if you're using multiple GNSS or GNSS satellite constellations.
Okay, great. My insurer said I have to have an S5 system. How does that vary from the old system? What changed in January when the new rules came in?
Okay, so S5. I mean, what changed? Cat 5 was a standard that the predecessor to S5 is a category that's been around since I think 2004, something like that, and it was very much where the modus operandi of the thief was to break into the house, take the keys. So the idea was to keep the ID tag separate from the keys, and that was right at the time. The theft methods have changed quite significantly. We've seen a lot of press about relay attack, huge, very recently.
That's when they use a device to
where they basically
the transmission of the key signal to
exactly.
The key
so
to
they
the car.
basically relay the key. So they will have a receiver, held by someone at your home, someone at the car, and basically they are relaying the signal from the key inside the house to the car, tricking it into thinking the key is present at the car.
Are there two devices there? The one at
there's
the
two
door
devices
and one at the car.
Exactly.
So
Right.
to each other,
Yeah. So again, it's child's play. It just doesn't get any simpler. You might as well have the key. So that's how things have changed. The real pain of the Cat 5 solution and the ID tag being separate was that it generated huge numbers of false alerts.
I can imagine, it's so easy
Customers
to forget.
hated it.
People said, put it in your wallet.
Yeah.
I was thinking of having it installed in my underpants.
Well,
just so I couldn't forget it.
I'm sure there'll be one day where we'll be implanting them in you, but until then...
I haven't got a wallet, so I was just thinking, what am I going to do? But luckily the new solution...
Yeah. And that was really the challenge. And I mean, even operationally for us, it's very challenging, shall we say, with a lot of customers, and customers just didn't like it. It's picking up their car keys is one thing, and then having to remember to pick something else up that isn't attached to the car keys. It was challenging, but because the theft methods have changed, it really no longer requires the ID tag to be separate, because as the methods that we've already described, relay attack, they haven't got the keys, so it's not as if they're stealing your keys. Key cloning, where they can basically code in their own key, and the equipment to do that's very, very low cost.
That's big on Ford, I think.
Yeah, well, it's basically, I mean, to be honest, most cars are vulnerable to it, and basically anything that is not keyless entry, so where you're using the key to unlock the vehicle, that can be cloned fairly easily. I mean, you simply you plug in the equipment into the OBD port, and you can code your own key in. I mean, a lot of manufacturers will deny that's possible, but
I've seen the videos.
It absolutely is. This stuff exists. Of course, there'll be different compatibilities, but somewhere the hardware to do this exists. So those methods don't utilise your keys. That's the point. So S5 has made life a little bit easier for the customer in that the ID tag doesn't need to be separated from the keys. So it's much easier, much more user friendly. And that's really the key thing. It's really an update of bringing a bit more a better user experience.
One of the big things that appealed to me about TRAK was your relationship with the Volkswagen Group. Can you tell me a bit more about that?
So we're supplying a number of the Volkswagen Group brands, including Volkswagen passenger cars, Volkswagen vans, Seat, Skoda, and now the new Cupra brand as well.
Sub-brand of Seat.
Yes, yeah.
For high risk
for their high performance cars. Yeah, exactly. So we're supplying directly into Volkswagen, and they can have systems installed at the dealer as a retrofit option, and through Volkswagen it is only the S5 solution that's available.
What are the other solutions?
So the other solution is one called S7. It's a lower standard.
So even though it's a higher number, it's a lower standard.
Yeah, it's a lower standard. Yeah, Thatcham have always managed to do that. It's really aimed. It's supposed to be aimed at assets, but there is a possibility that insurers may adopt that as a lower level tracking system. It doesn't have the ID tags, so it doesn't protect against things like key cloning and relay attack. In fact, it doesn't even require motion detection. So even if your vehicle's towed away, it's not mandatory for the system to send an alert. So it really is a big difference in terms of the level of proactive alerting.
So is it down to the owner to tell the track company?
No. In fact, it would be down to the insurer. It would be the insurer that would specify which level of system they want. Of course, the reality is, as you rightly said, these new categories have only come into force since the beginning of January. So insurers will still be getting used to the changes, and it will take some months. It will take some months before they are truly aligned onto the new categories.
What happened with my device? Because I mean that was a valid tracker only 5 years ago. What's happened to it to make it no longer valid for insurance?
Well, to be honest, I mean it depends on the manufacturer of the product. Some products can be upgraded to comply with the new standard. So where we had category 5 and category 6 products in the field, we can, by supplying ID tags, have that updated to S5, so our customers can continue to use the core hardware and still meet the latest standards.
So do you think if you haven't got ID tags that the device will no longer be valid or will run out of its validity soon?
Difficult to say. I mean, certainly ID tags is the way forward, and I think insurers, and especially with the recent press, because again, the insurers are the public. Let's say, they have a slightly greater awareness, but I think with what's been in the press, even the insurers will be learning things, and I think ID tags really are the key to the new attack methods, the new theft methods.
Before the insurer stipulated I had to have the S5 system fitted to my car, I considered one of the DIY tracking things where you just track it on the internet or something like that.
Okay.
What weaknesses are there with those systems?
Okay, so in terms of using it for stolen vehicle tracking.
Yeah. So you can buy something for a fraction of the cost of a properly installed tracker, but it doesn't. It's not insurance approved.
It's not insurance approved.
So there might be cars that are cheaper where the insurer doesn't specify.
Yep.
But where do they fall down when it comes?
I mean, in terms of stolen vehicle tracking, I mean, the key thing is that you will find that you very rarely will police respond to a member of the public giving them a location, because nothing in that process has been vetted. Nothing in that process has been validated. That's the difference with the Thatcham approved products, and that's really the key to using a professional control room where they will have links directly into police control rooms. So what's the difference? The really key difference is it's not stolen vehicle tracking. It's vehicle tracking. You would not get a response.
Part of the appeal of the TRAK system was the competitive annual subscription rate. Can you tell me how they compare to those of others on the market? Okay,
so firstly, the first year, the initial subscription period is already included in the cost of the hardware.
That's quite unusual, isn't it, in the market?
Yeah, it is. There are not many competitors doing it. Generally, they will have the installer install the product as a fitted price, and then you'll go back to that company to take out your subscription. The difference is once the installer's installed the TRAK product, it's activated, it's done. The subscription is already active. And then ongoing subscription renewal costs are the lowest in the market currently, so it's very good value.
Okay, what about if you add an immobiliser option? Because there's a Deadlock system coming to the
Meta. We've developed a product called S5 Deadlock to combat relay attack. So the idea behind that is really to give a total vehicle protection, total vehicle security, in that we immobilise the vehicle as well, preventing the vehicle from being stolen in the first place.
So just like the old days with an immobiliser as well as a factory.
Yeah, exactly that. So unless the ID tag is present, even if with the key, which obviously is simulated by the relay attack, the vehicle won't start.
So none of that pressing anything into the dashboard?
No, completely passive, automatic. It works through the same ID tag as is used for the standard S5.
Which is on your key fob.
Which is on your key fob anyway. So completely passive. But we take that one step further in that we can also set the immobilisation via the app. And
tell us about the app. That's the bit that will appeal to a lot of owners. With the
so the app's really interesting because before the app gives you something tangible. Before that, a tracking device was just a black box. You
forgot about it.
You forgot about it. It never. You didn't know whether it's working or not.
Yeah.
Or
because they used to have big batteries that used to
absolutely.
last forever.
I mean, they were literally. Some of the products, literally 20 times the size of the new technology. Literally. So the app gives the customer something tangible, but also gives them some benefits. They can go in, they can see how the vehicle's being driven, they can see what trips have been done. You can do things like you generate reports to show the mileage that you've done, and you can operate certain functions as well. As I was saying, on the immobilisation, through the app you can send the command to immobilise the vehicle, and this is particularly good if you go away on holiday or you're away from the vehicle for any period of time, because even if you have the ID tag present, if it has been locked down using the command in the app, the vehicle still doesn't start.
So the app holds the key to the car.
The app holds the key to the car starting. So it's another level of additional security, additional immobilisation. So yeah, that's coming very shortly. Obviously, having the vehicle stolen in the first place is what we'd ideally like to avoid, and that's why, given this the ease of which you can steal a car, we wanted to develop a system that would eliminate the vehicle from being stolen in the first place, bringing tracking as the second level. In terms of the subscriptions, they remain the same, even with the upgraded security. So it's still S5 subscription pricing. And then we've got one additional element, which is S5 Deadlock Plus, where we can also link the alarm system of the vehicle to the tracking system, so that if the alarm is triggered, you'll get a notification.
How? Is it a phone call or something on the app?
It's actually through to the app.
Right.
So we tend not to put the alarm through to the control room, because obviously the number of false alerts, people can tend to set their alarms off by accident quite frequently. Yeah, exactly. So that comes to you first, you check the status, and then obviously you have the ability to call the control room, call the secure operating centre to initiate a theft procedure if there is an ongoing issue.
Okay, so I've just received a text telling me that the system's been installed and how to log on to the TRAK app. So does that mean the system's all ready to go now?
Yeah, that's it, all done.
Brilliant. All right, well, thanks for the informative chat about tracking systems. It's been brilliant. So hopefully I won't have cause to use the system, but if I do, I know that I'm in good hands.
Absolutely.
So, thanks.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, I'm back here at my premises in North Worcestershire, and as you can probably tell by the fact it's getting dark, it's been a very long day. The journey back from Hamworth was pretty tricky, to be honest, and I can show you actually how bad it was using the TRAK app on my phone. Now, this has logged all my movements since I left the TRAK HQ a few hours ago, and it will show you exactly my route coming back. So on the way down, I took it nice and easy, M40, M25, M3, beautiful. Did an average speed of 70 miles an hour, which wasn't bad. Now you can see from the app, the navigation system told me not to get on the M25 that early. It told me to go up to Heathrow, go around the top of Heathrow on the M4, pick up the M25 there. So you can see the trail all the way back to where I'm standing right now. The most important figure there is the average speed of 40 miles an hour. So on the way down, as I said, I did 70 miles an hour average. On the way back, 40. So that was pretty bad. There are loads of other functions on the app as well. If you have the Deadlock immobiliser function added onto your TRAK device, then that can also be disengaged or engaged using the app, which means that even if someone's got the keys and the tags, they still won't be able to start the car. So I think that's pretty cool. And you can also have it linked to your alarm system. I quite like this one actually, because if the alarm's triggered, the TRAK device will send a message to the app to tell you that. So I think that's really useful as well. There's also battery voltage. So if you've got a car in storage, you'll know roughly when the battery's, well, you know exactly when the battery's going down a bit, because it will tell you, so you can put it on charge before you even try and start it, and that will mean you won't have any problems trying to start it. So yeah, it's a really useful app, and it's a real nice thing to have you have to spend £500 to get this fitted to your car. You might as well, for your insurance, you might as well have something where you can get some use out of it and interact with the device to your benefit, and that's really cool. As I said earlier, I'm really sorry I couldn't show you any footage of the installation or even of the device, but hopefully the interview with Andy Archibald, the head of telematics at TRAK, will be useful to you, because I know I learned a lot from it, and I think tracking devices will be a key factor in fighting car crime. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this Volkswizard video. If you have, please give it a thumbs up, please comment, please subscribe, and I'll see you for the next one very soon.